Hello, Mr. Randall. Is it okay if I videotape this interview?
Yeah, certainly.
Okay, what is your current job title?
So my current title, I'm actually in the information technology field, and my title is Vice President of Information Technology.
Oh, wow. What do you usually do? Like, what's your particular job and duties?
So the responsibilities that I have relate to managing all of the infrastructure operations for the organization. So I have staff that manage all of our networks, all of our servers and systems, provide all of the end user support services, as well as manage all of the information security capabilities for the organization. So I oversee all of the staff that manage all of those activities.
Okay, so you're pretty high up in the system, then,
That's right. Yeah.
Okay, what's like your average schedule?
Because I'm considered a full-time employee. Generally, I would work 40 hours a week, but oftentimes, given the demand of schedules, I sometimes put in certainly more than that on occasion because of the nature of the work that we do. Because we support the business operations 24/7. There are times where I have to work late into the evening, sometimes on weekends, to oversee projects and activities.
So, starting with high school, can you describe your educational background?
Yeah. So, in high school, went to a local high school here I graduated late 80s. The high school was El Dorado. And from there went to right into the Cal State Fullerton system. So I actually went to Cal State, and I got a degree. It was effectively a Bachelor of Science in Electrical Engineering, and I was there for five years.
Wow.
At the time, it was the one degree that required the most credits to graduate. So it was effectively a 5-year program, either way you looked at it, just with all the credits. And what was interesting about the degree as well is that, again, at that time, and one of the things I really I got out of it was the fact that you had to learn the disciplines in the other engineering fields. So you actually took courses in mechanical engineering and civil engineering, as well as the focus of my degree, which was electrical engineering. So I had the opportunity of working in the other fields, because a lot of the thought there at the time with that degree was that you'd be working with engineers in other fields, particularly with mechanical and civil as it related to electrical. And so I had the opportunity of exploring those as well. But graduated in, like I said, in the mid-90s with my degree, and that was effectively the end of my formal schooling. So I got my bachelor's degree, and I literally went right into a career, interestingly enough, in IT.
Oh.
Right before college, I joined a company, a healthcare company that was growing and was looking for people with IT and healthcare background. And it so happened that with the electrical engineering degree, as it relates to the IT field, was that you would, I had the opportunity of doing a lot with computers, computer programming like EEPROMs and 8088 chips and things like that, and had started to work with platforms like Unix. And so at the time that I was able to join this other healthcare company, I actually joined them right before I graduated in IT to manage Unix systems. So that's kind of how I got into the IT field as it related to electrical engineering, because at the time, back then, there was an association of using your electrical engineering experience with computers, because they really didn't have computer science degrees at the time, so that people with electrical engineering experience and effectively some of the things that you learn with computer engineering applied.
Okay. So, if you had to do it over again, really related to your education, would you do anything differently?
I don't know that I would do anything differently. I think what was interesting for me, again, is that I was focused on learning a lot of the aspects of electrical engineering that applied to electrical design. And for me, that really gave me more of a hardware background than I would say in some ways a computer or software background. But as I got into IT and found myself more and more in a position of administrating systems from a computer science perspective, I think maybe continuing to explore, even postgraduate, more computer science technologies at the time. I might have done that, but outside of that, I really took a lot away from my learning experience, just from an engineering perspective. A lot of the things that you go through in terms of the way that you reason out solution solving, the way that you collaborate and work with other people. And it gave me a lot of, again, an understanding of the way that the hardware works, so that when I used to administrate and manage systems, I was the one that was doing initially a lot of the hardware builds and that work, as much as I was helping to do a lot of the software, if you will, almost like scripting and programming work when I did my administrative, when I went through sort of the technical phase of my career, probably for like the first 10 years. And then I started to transition more into managing the people that actually do that work. So that's how I kind of got into more of the management area and the management field of that, and ultimately to where I my career progressed to where I'm at today, with a lot of different roles that I took on and a lot of different responsibilities. But again, I would say I got a lot from the experience of my degree and in collaborating and working with other engineers, if you will, and how that applied. So there really isn't much I would say that I do differently.
Okay. What advice would you give to someone interested in pursuing a career path similar to yours?
Well, I think from my experience, and I would say that things have evolved, certainly with a lot of what you can get out of school these days, and I think especially with technology. So as I'm in kind of that technology space, there's a lot of opportunity now with various areas of technology that'll allow students like yourself to be able to explore those things and to really get a deeper understanding of how you can learn more about those technologies and those skills in order to help provide a little more focus on what you want to do and where you want to go, especially in the field of technology. But what's interesting as well is that, especially nowadays within the field, there's a lot that's happening related to what they refer to as digital, and so it's really, for me, the takeaway is recognizing that I think you learn, you can gather a lot of skills from learning a particular area of a technology. But what was interesting for me, and what I found with a number of colleagues of mine that got into that field of IT back in the early days, what I would consider the early days of the late 80s, mid to late 80s or early 90s, is that there were all walks of life of people that got into IT with different degrees. I would be working with individuals that got chemistry degrees, biology degrees, language art degrees, that found their way into IT because I think they learned that they wanted to explore the technology more than maybe what they were focusing on in their degree. So it's interesting how life kind of presents its opportunities, and I think the college and those degrees really help educate you and position you well for moving into the workforce and what some of those needs and demands are. But I would say use the opportunity to really explore the fields, because I think there's a lot of opportunity now to do that, maybe a little bit more than when I was in school. But use those years to really kind of understand, where you want to grow and where you want to maybe get into different areas of an industry, but sometimes take advantage of opportunities as they present themselves. Because again, for me, even though I was getting a degree in electrical engineering, and I actually had colleagues or peers of mine, student peers of mine, that were actually getting jobs with companies like Hughes Aircraft and Boeing here in California, I had the opportunity of moving into a healthcare organization doing IT work that was related but somewhat different than my degree, and I found a career path in computers and in managing computer systems that wasn't directly associated with my degree. There was a relationship there because of computer engineering, but the nice thing was I took a lot of the things that I learned from engineering and applied them to the practice of doing computer management and computer administration and things like that. So, but I found that it was great because it was just one of those things where the opportunity presented itself, and I was willing to explore that opportunity and found my career in it. So, something just to keep in mind.
Okay, that was very interesting. Thank you so much for your time.
Yeah, thank you. Appreciate it.
I'll see you later.
Take care.